Do you want a fat burning supercharger? It's called metabolic flexibility, and that's a tool I've been using now for over 10 years that you probably have heard a lot about on my channel that are the secret to everything I've seen. So what is metabolic flexibility first off, and how does that matter? So basically a short way to look at this is metabolism is just metabolizing food to be produced as energy, so it can be used as energy. But what happens, why do we see so many people when they eat, they don't get energized? You give a kid food and they get energy, right? You give an adult food and they don't. Now, if you overfeed them, right, or you give them too many carbohydrates, kids, adult, they crash. So what's the main reason behind that? Well, they have less flexibility metabolic, meaning that they don't break down that food and produce it into an energy source that's readily usable for them, as efficient as a child does. So the goal as a parent is to try to keep that kid as efficient as possible, as long as possible, right? So they don't have to deal with the shit that we deal with on a regular basis. And the goal for helping adults is to get them back to their youthful flexibility metabolically. And I found the number one way of doing that is drinking ketones by far. There's no comparison to it. Now, there might be some people out there, like maybe some biohackers, or maybe you're following some of the thought leaders in the space of human performance or human optimization. And I'll challenge them because my mentor was probably the first at doing this. And what we found is that if you're amazing and you're awesome and you're the best and you're the top star and you're the one that does all the work and yeah, you know what? You probably would be just fine. But what about everybody else? What about the 99%? So I'm not talking to the 1%. I'm actually one of those guys where I was willing to do all the hard work to stay healthy. I was willing to do everything I can to stay healthy, and I was judging everybody else. And then I'm like, how do I help my mom? How do I help my sister? And my wife started kind of not doing as well. I'm like, how do I help her? She's not willing, able, or cares to do the stupid shit that I do to myself every day. And I can point my finger at him and say, you're just a loser and you suck and you should just die. But that's not who I am. I'm like, how can I help them get what I'm experiencing, but do it in a simpler, more simplistic way and faster and more efficient than it took for me to do it? So I got off my high horse. I looked in the mirror and said, listen, yeah, I may be perfect. I'm just kidding, I'm not. But the reality is I was looking at it that way. I knew all the answers. Okay, so here's it. Metabolic flexibility is super important. It is super important. That means that your body can adjust. When you eat, it can break down food and give you energy now. Yes, carbohydrates, fat, and protein, all of them. I love low carb living. I think a lot of people will do better low carb living, mostly because they're not lean enough and they're not active enough to tolerate a lot of carbohydrates. So typically under 150 grams a day. For most people, probably under 100, maybe even more, under 50. And then for the extremists, under 20 grams of carbs a day on average, most days. So how do you create metabolic flexibility without being crazy on the diet? First thing you need to do is drink ketones. It's an exogenously, you're going to drink ketones. You're going to get therapeutic ketones in your system. Why? Well, he does a few things. One, Dr. Muhika Prodi did this research on it, on how it can activate this thing called the GLUT4 transporter that helps metabolize fat when you're in caloric restriction so that you can produce enough energy. So what they found is a lot of people, it's probably, I'm making this number up by the way, I could maybe figure it out, maybe, 40% of Americans, and that number is only getting bigger with obesity rising in children. It's only getting bigger. That meaning when they go low calorie, their body isn't producing enough calories from its own body tissue to give them enough energy to fuel their brain and their heart, their muscle. So they're starving. So they're low calorie, they're not burning enough calories off their own body, and they're starving. So are they going to keep on their diet? No, they're quitting. They're off. They're done. And then we call them losers, and we say, you have no discipline. No, they're starving. It's primitive nature to fuel and feed, and then they can go to this McDonald's or they can go to the pantry. Like, well, eat something good. It's hard. I'm realizing it's hard. There's addictions. There's all these things that go along. There's an emotional attachment to food. It's tough. So drinking ketones activates that transporter, helps them become more efficient at metabolizing fat and using it. It's not just getting rid of it. You got to be able to use it. You got to excrete it. You got to be able to go through the whole process. Ketones also help with the cravings so that it gives you power and control to make those decisions. More importantly, it's an energy source. So if you fuel somebody, if I overfeed you and you get tired, but if I give you ketones, what's going to happen is you don't get tired. It fuels your body. So you can get up and move. We know that if you move after you overeat or even eat any meal, your glucose level doesn't spike as much and stays more normal if you can go work and walk out. Well, if you feel like crap, you have no energy and you're tired and you're exhausted, what are you going to do? You're not going to do it, right? So give ketones, I'm going to go move. I'm going to go walk. So it's teaching your body not only how to become more efficient, it's giving you the tools to become metabolically more flexible through some hormones and some other components. It's also getting your body so that you can do the lifestyle changes with it. It gives you the tools. And then you combine that with some really cool fasting strategies. So what some of you though, and I'm going to be fully transparent, will need to, if you've got a lot of health problems, struggle with a lot of things, some of you need to go more on a stricter ketogenic style diet, not just say keto diet. It could be a flex. If you're using 2 ketones a day, maybe not as much. Some of you are going to. You got to heal what's inside. You got to fix things that are broken. I'm going to tell you though, you should work with your doctor through that whole journey 100% of the way. If you're working with any kind of medicines or medications, I can't express that any more than that. And let them know that I'm on this journey to basically put me as far back together as I can. There's some things that you're probably not going to change. I have Hashimoto's, I have it under control, but that thing can sneak in somewhere. So I'm not fix it, but I definitely am living my best life and not worrying about it. But I work with my doctor through the whole process. Okay. So metabolic flexibility is super important. And what you want to be able to get to the point where you can go have a freaking vacation, not sleep the whole time, eat food that you probably wouldn't put at the highest rate of healthiness, go to Italy, have pizza, and you freaking feel awesome, and you enjoy your trip, and you come home with energy and vigorousness, and you get right back into your lifestyle, and you know that you're in control, that you can switch fuel types and not feel like you're crashing and burned out and wore out and say that blame the food for all your problems. No, you got strong enough, and your body can adjust between energy sources efficiently so you can live your best life. And that's why I love everything we do, is because we teach you how to do that the best you can. So if you haven't done so already, check out my bio, check out the links, get ketones in your hand, try it for 60 days, change your life forever, and stay tuned because this whole series is going to be pretty awesome.